to the Other Bennet Sister Postmortem discussion. My name is Amanda-Rae Prescott, and I'm going to announce my special guest presenter here. Lacy Baugher we've been friends for like over a decade, and we've never actually worked on anything professionally together until now. So this is an extra special treat for Virtual Gen Con. This will probably never, we hope it happens again.
No, we're not gonna say it's never gonna
Never,
happen
but
again.
like, life happens, like life and career stuff happens. So yeah, we're gonna let Lacey introduce herself. She's doing a lot of cool things that Jane Austen fans and other fans of British television would love to hear about. So
Hi guys. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Number one, this is sort of a last minute add-on for me, and
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just very excited. I love the other Bennett sister. I can't wait to talk about it, and I love British TV generally. Like I have been, I think Absolutely Fabulous was my first real British love back when I was just buying a car because her name was Adina after Adina Monsoon. But I am an entertainment critic and culture writer who is currently unemployed. So please come subscribe to all the newsletters I'm about to tell you about. And one of which is dedicated to British television. And we covered the other Bennett sister quite extensively. It wasn't me as the editor. I get to hype up the lovely people who write for us. And Janet Mullaney recapped every episode. Sophie Brookover interviewed the cast and the head writer. I reviewed it for RogerEbert.com and just loved the expletive out of it. And it's so, so wonderful. I write a lot around the internet and yell a lot on social media. Probably seen me at AV Club, Den of Geek, Nerdist, Roger Ebert, all that kind of thing. But mostly these days I'm at TellyVisions, which used to be a PBS connected property, but has since gone independent in the wake of the federal funding cuts. So
Yeah,
come hang out with us, talk about British TV, give me a reason to
this
live.
this is sort of why this started in the first place, because I used to work at GBH Boston for their drama blog, and we both now are on the outside looking in. Yeah, I pivoted toward my day job of content moderation and then occasionally doing fandom stuff like this. So, but of course,
Yeah,
I still
sadly, PBS was my day job, so now I'm freelancing and trying to be an independent journalist, which is a lot cooler on paper than it is in actuality. But come hang out with us. We're fun, and I really need activities and things to do. So, TellyVisions.org, please
yeah,
come say hi.
definitely hit like folks up, because they have kind of become my low key, like my official, like, okay, first stop of the day, what's going on in like the industry side of British TV, because
Oh
it's
my gosh, my co-editor Annie will be so pleased to hear that.
yes, I yeah, y'all are like my first stop on like the internet, like social media promenade, basically. Uh, in terms of the other Bennett sister, I'm sure you and I heard about it around the same time because we both get the BritBox PR emails. So, what was
hmm
your first reaction when you saw that email?
Well, I think, I should start out by saying I have not read the book. Although,
Me neither. We haven't. Neither of us read the book.
I
So,
haven't read the book, although I've heard that the show is actually much better than the book, which is a rare thing, I think, but I can neither confirm nor deny because I haven't seen it.
me neither.
And I just noticed that my microphone spit guard is directly in front of my face, so we will try to make that a little better. Um,
But
yeah, I think they announced it during that sort of, Jane Austen had a big birthday recently, and they announced
yeah,
a whole slew of new like Austen and Austen-adjacent productions. And I love a period drama, and I love Jane Austen, and I was like, yes, this is finally food for me. Because I mean, no offense to all you guys who love crime dramas and mysteries and all that kind of thing, but like, don't we have enough? Shouldn't we have more period dramas?
honestly,
That's what I think.
I love it all. So, like, I love the crime dramas, but I feel like we're in this weird period where there isn't consistent period dramas, and
Yeah.
what I'm hoping BritBox is starting to do now is looks like they released two new ones. A Woman of Substance. They have the Heartacres now. It looks like they're going into production on another new period drama. I'm hoping that it's not just little bursts of miniseries, that they might start investing in more long-term, multi-season series like the Heartacres. So that's
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like every crime drama is literally like, let's go to insert city here, where we have a detective who partners up with a insert strange, personal job or hobby type here to solve crimes. Like I
yeah,
get it. It's the formula, it works. Like I really like a lot of the sort of cozier ones that tend to end up on Acorn more so than like what season are they even on in Midsummer Murders at this point? Like 30?
20,
I don't know.
25. I
Like,
think they just finished 25.
my constant question about this is why don't these people just leave this town? But like at this point, like your body count is so high, like just move. But
Yeah,
to each
I
their
love the
own. I'm
cozies
glad that you
and
guys love it.
yeah, it's
I
like
wish there were
Mario.
26 seasons of like Down Abbey. That would be fine.
I love mysteries, but also too, it's sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, there's only so much of white Brits getting arrested before I need to cycle through something else.
I mean, I always appreciate it when they do try to do something a little bit different, but yeah, there's just we could
There's a
do
lot.
something that wasn't in Regency or Tudor England. That would be cool.
That would be cool too. I mean, I thought Bridgerton
No
was going
offense
to
to
come
Jane
up.
Austen, which is I realize the reason I'm here, but this is a soapbox.
So it's so funny for me. It's like I wanted Bridgerton to inspire more things like Bridgerton, but now it looks like the industry has been like, "Hey, we're gonna leave that alone. Let them do that," and then we're now gonna go pivot toward either more
Hockey
adaptation,
romance, hockey romances.
yeah, or hockey romance, or okay, something like this where it's just Austen adjacent, but we have enough original characters that we can kind of put our own twist on it. But yeah, we're just gonna leave Bridgerton to do Bridgerton things because yeah, it's been yeah, I had that reaction. I was like, this is Other Bennet Sister is great. I'm like, I want more of it, but I find it interesting that BritBox didn't go with adapting one of the big six first, but I think it's actually a better strategy. They went with adjacent story first. That way they can kind of establish their foothold in this genre because all of their previous productions that they have on there for Austen are ones that like other people made and they just
Yeah, and I actually think it's really, I don't think this was on purpose, but I
no,
think it ended up being really smart
yeah,
because this year we're getting another Sense and Sensibility and another Pride and Prejudice, and I will watch both of those things and complain about how the Sense and Sensibility just could really use a little more light in it, but going by the trailer, but like I think it helps them stand out with this particular project because it isn't Sense and Sensibility or Pride and Prejudice, and it doesn't have to have a one-to-one comparison with either of those projects or with like the original like 2000, that was it 96. I started to say 2005 and I was like that's wrong, that's the Keira Knightley movie.
there was Sensibility I think was 97 and then there was also a 2000 I want to say 8 miniseries. Mind you, I did a panel on this a couple years ago. Wow, and that's already flew out of my head. Yeah, there was a miniseries in the 2000s. They had the 97 movie, I think, and then
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's good because for whatever reason, and well, actually, this is a two-pronged complaint. I like to complain a lot, um, because I think I wish that we would get like a new Mansfield Park or a new Northanger Abbey or something like that.
yeah, those
Something
two
like
need
those
work.
never get redone, and I don't know that as much as I love Sense and Sensibility, that I really needed another Sense and Sensibility right now. Um,
We
but
and mind you,
so
it's so
I think
funny.
it's good. I think it's good that it's something that we haven't really seen before. I wasn't a huge fan of Miss Austen on PBS as much as I love Keeley Hawes, but I like that they were trying to do something in the Austen space
But
that wasn't just Pride and Prejudice again.
I agree. I was like, Miss Austen was I didn't read that book either to compare, but I it was cool, but I felt like there was something missing from that narrative. It felt a
I
little
really loved the flashbacks. I loved all the stuff with
yeah,
Jane. Like Patsy Farron was amazing, and she
yeah,
was so good in it. And I just thought that part of the show was so good
yeah,
that it was just not like trying to compare it to the like present day storylines with the not flashbacks was it just didn't come off great.
yeah. I agree. I think this is why I was glad to see that Other Bennet Sisters is going to go in a different direction with characters that are not explored as much in other versions. Because, for example, Mary often becomes either a comic figure, they make fun of her being a nerd, or they just ignore her and she's just sitting there while they're sipping tea, depending on the adaptation you're looking at. So when I saw that they were going to dive into Mary, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Let's see what they do. And
Oh
then,
yeah, because I was thinking about this earlier when I was like, let me try to think of like some intelligent things to say. I feel like if you sort of look at the sisters in Pride and Prejudice,
mhm.
Mary's the one that we know the least. Or even though I don't know that we necessarily know Kitty any better than we know Mary, But
I
I feel like Kitty and Lydia are like a set. So
yeah.
we sort of glom Kitty onto Lydia and kind of just assume that we know her because we know Lydia. And
Mhm.
I then Mary's just stuck in the middle and kind of forgotten.
Yeah, so I was glad that they kind of came up with this entire story and they gave her a full, like, we find out about her life and her relationship with her mother and her love story journey. Now, since this is a post-mortem, were you surprised by the last episode and how it's where it started and then where we end up?
Um, yes and no. Yes, because it's a bit untraditional in the
Mhm.
sense that, I think I'm pretty sure I wrote this somewhere before, so I'm just going to plagiarize myself. But I think the interesting part about this show is that it's a very traditional, like, period romance, period love story that has all the beats of that we like, but that's not actually the most important part of the story. I
Mhm.
think the real emotional climax comes when Mary confronts Mrs. Bennet. And
Yes.
that is the real, like, oh my gosh moment. That's the real, like, happy ending for her, kind of. Like, yes, she gets a hot dude afterward who's perfect for her in virtually every way, but like her development is not um her development is not, oh gosh, what is the word that I want right now? Like, not dependent on her romance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have her full emotional journey, her full friendship journey, and then we have the romance, which because in many shows where mothers and daughters have difficult relationships, oftentimes we have that conflict, and then all of a sudden it gets dropped because they want to prioritize the romance over the emotional conflict between the mother and daughter, and or the mother and daughter conflict ends up sabotaging the romance in some way, shape, or form,
Hmm.
which I initially thought that was going to happen. I'm like, okay, Mary's gonna, either get proposed to by Mr. Right or something, and then her mom's gonna force them to break up. And I'm like, this would be horrible. I'm like, I don't want this to happen, but I thought that was what the trajectory was. Did you think the same thing?
I really believe in, like, the conventions of the romance genre, so I wasn't too worried that Mary wasn't going to get a happy ending.
Yeah.
I was surprised, I think, that the show was willing to kind of let that relationship sit in being ugly. Do
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah.
they're not enemies or anything by any stretch of the imagination by the end of the show, but they're not close either. Like,
No.
nobody really, like, Mrs. Bennett doesn't, like, admit that she's been treating her daughter terribly. I think the show, gives you as a viewer some reasons as to why she might behave the way that she does, which are in some ways understandable because, they get turfed out of their house. Like, if Mary doesn't get married, she's going to have to live with them forever. What's going to happen to her after her
Yeah.
parents die? Like, these are very, like, real world concerns that don't often enter into the whole romance angle of it. But
Yeah.
aside from that, I really like that they let her. They don't just put a band-aid on things between her and her mother. Like, they let it sit in being uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
it just, like, it's going to be uncomfortable.
And also too, the mother talking constantly about, okay, what are you gonna do for money? Because in this era, they didn't really have jobs outside the house, and of course for their social status, even if they're temporarily under the they don't have as much money they should have, they're like, well, working as a governess just means you're poor, and we can't have that image, or that can't last forever. What are you going to do when you're old? What are you going to do, if you get sick? Like, there's no health insurance, like there's no 401k, like what your husband is your 401k. So, like,
I mean, yeah, not wrong.
yeah, this is kind of what, and that part of of Mrs. Bennett's nagging is what's kind of persistent to the show. But then it turns out that, like, she is overbearing to the point where, on those concerns, to the point where Mary is like stifled, and that final conflict clearly shows that Mary has a plan. Her 401k is going to be herself until that plot twist where until Mr. Hayworth comes back. Now, I didn't read the book, but I found that really ironic that that was his name, because I'm like, wait a second, isn't that Charlotte's name from Sanderson?
Oh, right. I thought that it sounded familiar, but I don't know that I actually realized that until, like, right now.
Yeah.
I think Charlotte spells it differently, but
Yeah, it was. I was like, wait a second. There has to be a reference somewhere in one of the books, but I can't like quite put my finger on it. It might be from Sanderson's fragment itself. I was like, hey, look at that. They're
yeah, I think
recycling
actually now that
it.
I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure Charlotte spells it differently. But like
Yeah.
it's a very what's the word, a homonym? Is that the words that
Yes.
sound the same but are spelled differently? Like it's like that, but a name.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure that might have been maybe purposeful, either on the screenwriter part or, it was in the book. I just didn't realize it. I was like, yeah, I was like, hey, look at that. Because Sanders is also a story that starts where they're filling in gaps that Jane herself left behind. So there is some parallels, of also some differences. That's probably entirely different conversation. But yeah, I've noticed. I was like, hey, it makes sense now that that is the suitors that's the name. I mean, when we're talking about romance tropes, I was shocked that the third, you know how they have the third act breakup? I was
Hmm.
shocked it felt like the fourth act.
It was, yeah, it did happen really late. I think it happened in maybe episode 8.
Yeah,
Can I
nine.
just
I was
say,
like,
while
wait a
we're talking about this,
second.
like this episode, I love a show that is confident enough to be like, we have half-hour episodes, and that's what we have, and it is the time that we need, and it is perfect, and more shows should do this.
Yes, I
Like,
think the half hour format has kind of fell out of use for everything in the UK, mostly except comedies at this point.
I think so. I can't remember the last time I saw a drama that was half an hour. Like,
I think it might have been the Little Dorrit adaptation because they
oh, I
had.
hate Little Dorrit. Sorry, I'm just not a Dickensian girl.
I'm not
Um,
really Dickens person either, but Little Dorrit came into my
Although, to
life
be
this time.
honest, maybe I'm just jealous because he got clearly paid by the word and I don't. But
For me, it's like Dickens came around like in 2009. Like it was half a Doctor Who is in it, and
it's
like
true.
yeah, and of course it came in a time when I was like, I really want a period drama that I could like sink my feet into. So like that's my favorite one. But yeah, that half hour format has really not been used. And I think for dramas, I think especially in this whole age where shows are not being binged, there's a lot of weekly drops. The half hour format actually works really well with that format.
I
Or
just think
even
it's really good because it keeps things, I think a lot of shows have the tendency to like, well, we have all this space, let us fill it.
yeah.
And we don't necessarily need, like, I can't tell you the number of times I open up screeners to watch something and every episode is like 58 minutes. And I'm just like, I guarantee you, you do not need 58 minutes for an episode of television. Um, so that's just a personal pet peeve. But I love that this is another thing that I think sets the show apart, that it was just so breezy and confident in the way that it structured its story.
I agree. And also, you think about it, if Austen was she got published before the era of the paid by the word era, but in a serialized thing in a newspaper,
Hmm.
like it would have been in smaller chunks. Like we could, it made a lot of sense to go with that half an hour route. I'm curious to see if the Christmas specials they just announced are going to do the same thing,
Oh
or they said
yeah.
3 episodes. I'm like, is it three half an hours, or is it going to be 3 hour longs? I had one. Yeah, it was kind of
I'm
unclear.
actually really excited. I mean, it's such like a blessing and a curse kind of thing. Like I'm so excited it's coming back because I
Mhm.
love these characters and and you so rarely get to see like what happens after like happily ever after. Like they get married, everything's great forever. And sure, but like real life happens in the space after you get married. So I love kind of stepping into that undiscovered country, if you will, because
Yeah.
we don't like normally it just stories like this just stop at the wedding. We just assume that I mean your life's not over after you get married.
No, no. In fact, it begins that way. I'm like, I'm hoping we get more of that. I'm also hoping we get some more, maybe at least glimpses of some of the supporting characters that
Mm.
didn't like. For example, I really thought we were gonna see at the end, see Anne Baxter get something out of like maybe we don't know if she found somebody or what. I mean, I did appreciate we saw Mr. Sparrow. He did say that he got finished med school. I'm like, yay, and he has a kid family now. So like I'm hoping some of those characters that we like, for example, some of the people from the trivia nights, like those are folks I would love to see in the Christmas special pop up. I'm sure Mrs. Bennett is going to be extra.
Mm. I would
Um,
not, I actually really I'm kind of fond of this weirdly waspish Carolyn Bingley, so I would
yeah.
not be mad about seeing her again.
and Mr. Ryder back from Italy with his tan and whatever he was doing there, like whatever they were doing there. I mean, I have to say, they are very bold for having Mr. Ryder be. I would want to. I feel like he was just shy of like the stereotypical Regency rake, but he didn't want to say that. Be in terms of
No,
the.
he's a good dude. He's a good
I'm
dude. Like
not saying
I love him. I love one of the things I love the most about the show is that the love triangle is so good on both
yeah,
sides. Like, yes, he is unconventional, but Mary's unconventional too. And
yeah.
that doesn't make her a bad person. It doesn't make him a bad person. It just means he wants to live his life in a different way.
When I
Maybe
say
that way does not intersect with Mary's in
yeah,
the way that he would like it to, but
yeah.
I love him too. Like but not to be like the solution to every love triangle is a throuple, but sometimes the solution to every love triangle is a throuple.
When I say rake, I mean like sort of having him be more easygoing, me, and also more so that like I'm willing to live my life purposely unconventionally. I think that part of
Yeah.
rake is
Although
like,
for some
but
reason
not like
when I think of like Rake in this scenario, and this is just because I hate him, I default to like Willoughby
yeah.
in Sense and Sensibility. I'm like, that guy sucks.
Mhm.
Um, and I do not think that Mr. Ryder sucks. I
No, no,
think
he's
he
not.
is
He's not a bad
really a
person.
good
It's
dude.
yeah, he's just right. His personality archetype in a different story would have probably gone in that direction.
Oh yeah, I could see him being like I don't know how to say this without saying an expletive boy in a
No,
contemporary
actually,
style
we can
story.
say the F word. It's fine.
Okay, good. Then I'll say it. I think he would be like a pretty, likely fuckboy in a if this were like a hockey romance.
Or
Since that's the other
Bridgerton,
big
like
genre.
Bridgerton season 6, because we don't know what season 6 is going to be. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now,
But I actually really like that he is um so supportive of Mary's weirdness. Like he
yeah,
likes her because she's weird. He really enjoys the things that everybody tells her are the worst parts of her personality. He thinks that's awesome,
yeah.
and I think that that's awesome that he thinks that.
Yeah, it's and also it helped her in that when she just first moved to London, she doesn't really know anybody, but then she finds the trivia night, like she can info dump on people and talk about like what she's learned and put kind of maybe put herself out there to eventually become a governess because she knows because it is she does he even mentions that like I wish she would have gone to study. Wait, no, that was Mrs. Sparrow. I wish it, well, I really do wish I'm like, what if Mary went to college? Because she's so smart,
Such a
but
nerd.
she's a nerd. I'm like, but in a way, and not in a way that is like patronizing or feeling like
No, I
or
think she just
stereotyping.
likes to learn. I think she
Yeah,
just likes learning for the sake of knowing stuff
for
and
sure.
dominating at like parlor games. But I share that trait, so I support her in that. But like, I think it's unfortunate that she was born in a time where there's nothing like there's like even if she did do that, like there's nothing for her to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, she can teach other people's kids, but I mean, there's a limit to what you're going to teach a 10-year-old about like Plato.
Yeah, and of course at which is also kind of weird. I know after a certain age, the boys did not get private education by women. The men took over that and like they sent them to boarding school. So like even her own career as a governess would have been limited by the time the girls were old enough to like
Yeah.
be
There's definitely like a ceiling to it.
yeah.
A glass ceiling, if you will.
Oh yeah, definitely glass ceiling. Definitely a glass ceiling. But but in the end we can see that she has the guy that she wanted and she's teaching the little kids. So it worked out in the end. Now I'm curious to find out if you had any least favorite parts of the other bed.
Uh, um,
I'm curious.
I have a couple. I have a couple. My biggest one is that, and I understand like narratively from a storytelling perspective, from
Mhm,
just like 50,000 foot view, why Mrs. Bennet is the way she is in this
mhm.
story. But I hate it. Like she's so much. And
Yeah.
I get, like I said, I fully see the logic, and it comes from it actually comes from, I think, a good place. She's got 5 daughters.
Yeah.
That is a lot of girls to get married. Like that is a lot of kids to lose sleep over every night. To be like, how am I gonna, what are we gonna do with them
Yeah.
if they can't find husbands? Like, so that's a lot of kids to get married. Like, I get that it comes from a good place, but she is so just like extra all the time. Like ever, she's so aggressively just overbearing and she's a bully, really.
Yeah.
Like she's really a bully, and she is. I don't know that I would say that she's abusive towards Mary, but I don't know that I wouldn't say that. I think the line is really
It's really weird,
blurry.
blurry, and also too, if you think about it, because I'm not sure. For me at least, the jury's still out on this because they have her Mary portrayed as a nerd, right? It would maybe follow for some viewers. I didn't quite get this, but if people are reading Mary as neurodivergent, autistic, or something else along that spectrum, it comes off even more.
Yeah,
She comes off even more like nasty if you're thinking that. I didn't quite. I'm not sure if this story that was their intention. I'm sure some people saw it that way, but I was thinking about it from that perspective. I'm like, yeah, if people are reading Mary as autistic, that's even worse because
like
now
it's
we're,
just yeah, like she's just generally so horrible to her, and it's just
yeah,
really because I really like Mrs. Bennet in the book, and in most other adaptations, she's just kind of ditzy. She's not a monster, and she is a monster in parts of this, and
yeah.
that's upsetting. I also just love Ruth Jones, and I'm like, girl, you did such a great job. You were so believable. I also hate this for you.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I feel like there are times where I think went too hard on her being on her insistence that Mary goes a certain way in her life. I think I
Well,
agree.
yeah, because it didn't really matter. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but look at some of your other children. Like, you were so much nicer to Lydia, who, let's face it, did some much more embarrassing stuff to the family
Mhm.
honor. But it's okay because she married him. Like that is
Yeah,
that like the great equalizer here? I mean, probably for the time period that's accurate, but I also again hate it. And I hate it a little bit for Lydia too.
yeah. I feel like that's the other thing too with this story because we focus on Mary, like other versions of other Pride and Prejudice adaptations and spinoffs have that retribution factor. Like Wickham is punished somehow. And in this version, he kind of gets off really light because of the fact in her mind, you got married, that's what counts. Now I
That
don't have
makes
to
it
worry.
fine. It's fine now.
It's fine now. I was like, are we sure about that? For me, the other thing that kind of was interesting for me was the Mr. Collins thread because it went against practically every other version of Pride and Prejudice I've seen so far, and even some of the fan fiction or adjacent novels that people have like reinterpreted and remixed.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, Mr. Collins is even more unlikable, but in a very strange way.
Like a sad way. I felt for him strangely, which I don't always, because
Yeah.
sometimes he is just a jerk. But I really felt like on some level he was kind of lost a little bit the same way that Mary is lost in the world of Pride and Prejudice anyway, because I think those first 2 episodes are very clearly like the events of Pride and Prejudice, and then Mary goes to London.
Yeah.
And some of the choices that they make in like their interpretation of Pride and Prejudice is they're interesting. Let's put it that way. But I didn't hate the Colin stuff. I thought it would have been a really kind of neat solution for Mary to marry him, and I didn't hate it.
I think for me what I don't like about that storyline is it's kind of the beginning of where you see Mrs. Bennet as more than just pushy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in those scenes she's really like dismissing Mary. She's dismissive of Mary, doesn't listen to her feelings. She's all focused, and I mean, while she's focused on Elizabeth liking him, and I'm like, you're not reading the room here. She hates him at all.
I mean,
Like
again, you got 5 kids. You got
you,
options.
you have options exactly. So yeah, that's kind of yeah. That was for me. It's not a like. It's like a mild dislike. I would say I'm trying to think of anything else that I felt like was a little bit
I don't know how I felt about how those first 2 episodes really portrayed Lizzie. Or, or
Yeah,
rather, or rather, the Lizzie of Pride and Prejudice. I actually later in the season, especially that conversation she has where she reaches out to Mary and they talk and Mary
yeah,
actually admits all the ways that she felt like her, you know, her status in the family had sort of been subsumed to her sisters and all of that stuff. Like I thought that scene was great and really wonderful, but like the bits of Pride and Prejudice that show up in this with Lizzie, I thought were kind of strange. Like
hmm
they make Lizzie a little mean in a way that I don't love or that I don't agree with necessarily. Uh,
yeah.
I don't
I can
know.
see
It's
that too.
weird.
It's weird. I think it's also to this story not focusing on Lizzie because we had at least several chances of seeing everything from her point of view. But it could be for me. I was like, okay, I don't quite like this, but I'm also seeing him like in this story. Also, I hadn't read the book because maybe it is just like that in the book as
Yeah.
well. It's like we're not seeing this from Elizabeth pro Elizabeth point of view. We're seeing
I
it
mean,
from Mary.
maybe that is the way that Lizzie comes off to other people. Just
Yeah.
not me.
It's just weird because like we're so used to seeing Lizzie as the hero, like it's kind of like maybe breaking our own brains to like decenter that.
hmm
It definitely is, especially for Mary's personality, like being so unlike her sisters that it's sort of it's jarring to see. I think trying to think of some. I mentioned this earlier for me at least. Yeah, I definitely wanted Anne's have a happy ending, and that's mostly my bias, mostly because I love I love Rada Sefu from Doctor Who, so I
I
was like,
know,
I want
she's
to
so
see.
good. She was so charming in this too.
Yes,
Like,
and yeah, it was great, and especially since Doctor Who did not her ending her for her character was not the greatest. So I was like, yay! So
no, I really loved that she got to be super, super, super charming in this. And it was really interesting because I liked her character so much that for a little bit, even though like it was, I think, very clear that Mary and Mr. Hayward are, endgame,
yeah,
I really liked him with Anne too. Like I thought they were very cute together.
they
I mean,
were,
maybe not on the same like they're the same person basically level that he and Mary are. But like I was like, oh, if he stays with her, like that won't be too bad. They're very cute.
they are,
I didn't
and because
instantly hate her like I sometimes do with the character that sits in that slot.
yeah, I also think she was it was
Sorry, sorry, Miss Elizabeth Steele. Not sorry.
for me too. It's especially because sometimes some shows kind of treat that they avoided the disposable girlfriend trope, which is good
hmm
because that's definitely and that's trope is even more magnified when you have an actress of color there. They
Yeah.
avoided that, but you could tell that okay, this relationship's not gonna work out because there's always also too that like characters that are arranged to be married from like childhood, but then it doesn't work out or they're forced to. There's always that kind of trope somewhere in a period drama or
I kind
period.
of like that she got to be like, actually, maybe this isn't what I wanted. I like that she's had the agency to
Yeah,
make that decision, and I don't know if that I mean, I don't know if I missed out on like if her family is wealthy or if she has a good job or what reason it is that she can turn away like a husband.
yeah. I
Um,
was curious. Yeah, I was actually wondering about that too because like we didn't really see a lot of her family. So I'm wondering like maybe she's an orphan and she's
yeah, I mean,
able.
maybe she's like a secret heiress or something. I don't. I mean, she seems very chill to be an heiress, but
Yeah,
again, like I feel like I love for her that they gave her the agency to be the one that ended things and not to be the one that got left too.
exactly, because like yeah, she ended the relationship on her own terms. She didn't have to. She didn't clearly. She has a trust fund or something, so like she didn't have to worry about like, oh, I don't have to marry him just because I need money. So that was definitely so. It's for me. It's more of a like okay, when cool, we got this, but maybe we have another chance to
And they didn't do the thing where they made her and Mary be
angry with each other.
antagonistic towards each other over some man.
Yeah.
Like, yay! Keep making good choices, television.
Yes,
Keep
good
making
choice.
good choices.
Yes. Also trying to think of is there anything else you were like, okay, I wasn't entirely thrilled with this.
Mm, I do think that like maybe they went a little over the top with making Caroline kind of a bitch, but I also feel like that's accurate. So
Yeah, I mean, this is not the first adaptation where she's like totally like rude and awful. I mean, that's gonna
I do think she clearly gets like on the plus side from that is that a lot of them she's a total bitch and doesn't learn anything and just is a horrible from beginning to end. And I do feel like she at least gets a nice little, and it may be quite little actually. We'll see what happens at Christmas, but like she gets some nice growth.
Yeah.
She
So
gets
like she
a little
actually,
arc of her own.
yeah, and she has. I mean, she goes to find. We find out that she ends up chasing after a writer in Italy, which is cool. I'm like, okay, that's great because you guys seem kind of weirdly matched in a way that we wouldn't have expected at first. So I'm like, yeah, this works out for her that she, yes, and it's not like because sometimes it shows where it's like we have to grind that mean character down to like nothing, which I'm
Hmm.
glad they avoided. Like because we want to sympathize with Austen's character. So it's like, yeah, she gets her cool ending without being without that morality play factor that some of the other adaptations might take.
Yeah, this is a really good. The show is really good about not judging any of its characters,
Yeah.
even when they make bad decisions. Like I don't even Mrs. Bennet, who, like I said, is like my biggest pain point in this adaptation. I don't think the show treats her badly. I don't think it judges her for her choices. It's just like these are her choices, and it's how she's decided to make them, and I respect that.
Yeah, for sure. Because there are definitely period adaptations where the screenwriter clearly makes a judgment on one or more of the characters, even if
Hmm.
it's the point of, or even not so much judgment too. They allow the characters to make decisions that modern day people would not make
Hmm.
for reasons that modern day people wouldn't consider. Because, like, for example, someone would be like, wait, why not just live with a guy without marrying him? And back then, they wouldn't have made that decision without having
Yeah.
experiencing financial and or social turmoil to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, and again, back to that scene I really liked with Lizzie, where she's like, look, he gets everything out of this. And if he decides that he doesn't want to do it anymore, he can leave with no, like, it costs him nothing. It costs you everything, maybe,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, definitely. Now I'm trying to think of, is there, what was an unexpected, like, I love this moment for you in this adaptation?
Oh gosh. Oh, there's so many. I really love the group hiking trip. I loved it so much. It was so like it was so genuinely funny to me and also full of little unexpected moments. I loved Hayward who kept trying to propose and kept getting interrupted by things and then it was just it's so good. It's so good. The poetry reading. That was
Yeah.
also amazing. Um, what else? What else? I just really love Mary, like full stop,
Yeah.
because I think when you look at something like Pride and Prejudice, I think we have all like, you know, we've all read the books, we've all seen the adaptations, we all have like a spirit character, if you will, like we all want to be a Lizzie or a Jane, or maybe even a Lydia or a Kitty. I don't know. Like we've always thought about what it would be like to be them, but we probably never really have been. I think we've all at some point in our lives been Mary,
Mhm.
and that really like speaks to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree because like there are times in my life I'm like, yeah, I feel like Mary, and this is kind of this adaptation kind of like fully shaped out for one, and for me at least, I love trivia night more. I
Oh
said,
yeah, I do love a woman who is confidently
yeah.
playing a trivia game.
I also liked some of the choices they made for unexpectedly. I mean, I'm a costume nerd, so I'm like I liked how they costumed Mary in particularly. Like especially they use reds and fuchsias and colors you don't see in a lot of the other Austen
Oh yeah,
adaptations.
her mother never would have let her wear that red dress.
Never. And yeah, and they weren't, and I feel like there's so many Austen adaptations that are like, oh, let's make everything white and pure. And I'm like, they would not even like for middle and working class, they would have worn some kind of color. Like I like that this adaptation wasn't the color palette for the characters was wasn't so beige.
I just love that the act of getting to choose her own fabric
Mhm.
for her dresses was such like a moment of empowerment for her because
Yeah,
it seems like it should be this little like nothing thing, but you know, when you're at that period of time, like how much control over big things in your life do you have? So getting to pick your own dress fabrics after a lifetime of getting, I'm sure, like last pick out of your five sisters, like or four sisters, counting herself. Like, that's got to be a big deal. I love how excited she was about that.
And
Even if I
also,
don't necessarily, like, I would not have picked some of the colors that she picked, but like, you know what? Live your life, girl.
yeah, and there's even in the last episode, she was wearing that citrine green dress, which I'm like, wow, that is a color. I sometimes I might pick that depending on the situation, but like
I
in
would never
every
pick.
other Regency like anything, that is a color that people mock the person wearing that color. Like the Featherington dresses, like it was definitely like
Oh yeah, it is a
Featherington.
very Featherington color.
Yeah, again, like I mean, I like a bold green sometimes, but like, yeah, that she did. Nobody and the show didn't make fun of her for it. They were she's like, I'm wearing this really bright green dress. So go down to the parlor. I kind of love that about Mary that they expressed her personality in ways that we haven't seen in other adaptations.
No,
I
and they're
also
and they're weird. Like they're just that's it's like she's a little weird. So her choices are a little strange, and that's fine.
yeah, it's like I also appreciate you like her wearing glasses consistently and not being made fun for it because even now, like there's so much disability awareness in the world, and kids are still getting called four eyes. Like Mary was allowed to wear her glasses, and she people weren't making fun of her for it. Yeah, well, at first, other than her mom, but
Later on, other than her horrible mother.
yeah, it was
And
great.
probably one of the sisters. I don't. Probably one of the sisters was
Yeah,
probably
one of
Lydia.
sisters, but still, like it was definitely like especially in those crowd scenes, like people were not like making fun of her for it. It was that was very refreshing, for me.
I just think refreshing is such a good word to describe this show, sort of in total. It just is really like
Mhm.
just a breath of fresh air for me. And I watch a lot of TV, and some of it is not fun, and some of it is really good, but not what I would call especially like entertaining. And this was just like this was just so much, just such a joy to watch every minute of it. And I don't remember the last show that I said that about.
I'm trying to remember the last because again, both of us are like heavy on like looking at screeners and things. I think for me, probably All Creatures Great and Small, just because like, but that's a completely different type of period drama too.
Yeah.
In terms of
I would
like,
say maybe like the first season of Ted Lasso, but that's also a very different kind of show.
yeah, for sure. It's definitely a different type of experience. But yeah, I would say Breath of Fresh Air is a great way to describe this. I yeah, I hope what do you think is the takeaway that not that everybody's now rushing for the hockey romances now after Heat Rivalry. What is the takeaway people should take away from the other Bennett sister?
Oh goodness. We still love Jane Austen, obviously, but
Mhm.
maybe delve into the wide catalog of Austen adjacent and pastiche kind of things that are out there because clearly there are really good stories that have been written in this space, and her work is still speaking to us through a variety of new formats and faces and voices. And you don't have to remake Pride and Prejudice again. Not that I'm not gonna watch it,
Mhm.
but you don't have to do that. And I would say, on a more like, I don't know, I think you can, I don't know what the word for this is, but like I said, what I love about the show is that it is a love triangle in which no one is enemies, no
Mhm.
one is like mad at each other, nobody is clearly like superior to the other one. Like it's such like a good, like the point of it is really to figure out who is the best complement to our heroine's life,
Mhm.
and not like two men fighting over her. It's like do either or maybe none, because I could have seen a version of this where she didn't pick anybody. What, like, I think that we all love the romance, we're all here for the romance, but like let's remember that the romance is supposed to be in service of the Mary or the Lizzie or who, like in service of the central character story as opposed to the whole story, because I think it can be really well done and powerful. Like I would have probably, I mean, granted, I was a Mr. Hayward girl, mostly because he's like kryptonite my type, and I was like, oh no, glasses, curly hair, kind of an accent, a big nerd, let's go. But Like, but I don't think you had to go that way. You could go either one.
Yeah.
And it's so like, I love not being told how I'm supposed to feel about something. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes
Mm.
when you watch something that has love triangles in it, it's like very clear who the roadblock is.
Yeah.
And that's the story. Like, will the roadblock get out of the way? But both of these men and both of her relationships with these men were first and foremost about her emotional journey and
Mm.
her development as a character. That she married one of them is a bonus.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of stories could really stand to think about how to incorporate that kind of thing into whatever they're making.
I would say I think the way to describe it is like equity of characters because there isn't the competition isn't yes, marriage is seen is a they had the marriage market factor, but the competition isn't about one upping people. It's about improving the whole self,
Hmm.
which I think a lot of period dramas and period romances can definitely benefit from versus like
Yeah,
purposely.
because I think Mary is a really great example of if you are not happy yourself, if you are
Mhm,
not happy with yourself,
mhm.
being with someone else will not make you happy.
Nope.
And
For
maybe that's really like I'm getting old now and have all these like great dating advice things the younger me really could have used, but I think that is not done as much as I think it should be done. Like yes, she gets a happily ever after with Mr. Hayward, but not until she gets one on her own. And I think that matters, or it should matter more than it does.
Yeah, and especially in Lacy Baugher romances where you see her taking up a career, even if that's actually something interesting. They have that as 1 week later, but I'm like, do you all mean 1 year later? Because that kind of sequence of Mary teaching the kids, I'm like, that seems like more than a week went by. But this is the story. It felt like we saw that before we saw the proposal, which I think is because in other adaptations, it've been the other way around,
Oh
or
yeah.
or even
Or they wouldn't have had the teaching part at all.
yeah,
Because
like
it would have been like she's getting married, therefore the objective has been achieved.
yeah. The yeah for Mary, it was more it was the romance happened, but she also found her independence, and she was able to tell her mom, "I need to make my own decisions. Like I love you, but like we
Boundaries.
boundaries are great. I think more period dramas could use boundaries conversation. Like
Ha- Hashtag the foresights.
yes, hashtag foresight. Yes. Oh my God. Like yes. Yeah, and like no one in the Other Bennet Sister needs to go to therapy other than maybe Mrs. Bennet, but
A lot. Whole
yeah,
lot.
a lot. Yes. I think well, yeah, maybe Mary earlier on, but yeah, this equity of not so much outcomes of equity of like and focusing on self-improvement. I think that's something more period drama should look forward to, and also to proving that okay, I'm gonna take a while, yes. This costs some money, but I don't think it costs like Bridgerton levels of money.
Mm.
And yet we have a very satisfying story. Because I know right now the industry is so pressured and the budgets are really a problem and there's a lot of issues with funding and budget cuts and all that. But you don't need a ton of money to tell a great story.
Yeah, and if the story's great, we'll ignore some of the like other stuff anyway.
Exactly. Like as long as you can fake it till you make it in some cases, like it works. And I also think too, part of the magic of this is that, for me, because I love looking at this information, this was Doctor Who's production company, well, former, Bad Wolf. I'm like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
they've never done a period drama before, but I'm like, you guys need to do this all the time now. Like, if you could, because you could tell some of their style choices, like in the in the cinematography and everything else, and the attention to detail. I'm like, y'all could do this more often, and please do. The Chris special great. If you guys come up with another adaptation or something else, I would love to see them do more of this. And now they don't have to worry about Disney and their drama anymore. Like, please do this.
That's a whole nother rant.
That is its
Um,
whole other rant. Yeah, but yes, please do more period dramas, Mad Wolf. You guys knocked it out of the park for sure.
right. It's honestly like I already know that it's going on my best of list at the end of the year. And I said that months ago, and I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, I have not come up with a best of list yet. Thankfully, I haven't done one yet. But yeah, if I had to, yeah, this is definitely on the top.
It's so good. I'm just generally really also happy for BritBox, who I think is such a great little engine that could in this space. And I like really want them to be more mainstream than they are. And I think this is a really great step toward that for them because I think it's going to get just continue to get attention because it's so, so good.
It is. And then as I'm a day one, I subscribe to BritBox since day one. So I'm like, I'm a day one person there. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted them to be. It's taken a little while because they came out about 10 years ago. So it's taken them a while, but they're finally at that level where they have the wide range of content, they have the advertising down finally, they have mainstream appeal. And this is the Other Bennet Sisters to me an essential like part of their canon. Like it's just like any new person subscribing must pick. This is you have to watch the Other Bennet Sister
Yes.
for sure.
I mean, I realize that we're probably preaching to the choir to some extent here, but tell your friends.
Yes, definitely tell your friends because the thing is, since a lot of the times like telling your friends and them watching things and them just taking a free trial and stuff like this is what will lead to more adaptations.
Oh
uh,
yeah, for sure.
for sure.
Especially
Yeah.
because I think we are in an era of like a glut of content and it is impossible to know everything that you should be watching anyway. So probably your friend will say thank you because you're going to tell them that it's something really great.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, we this is definitely not the only Austen or Austen-adjacent adaptation we're gonna get in 2026. So we wanna yeah, this is probably gonna be one that's probably going to, probably be at the top of the list. So hey, if you didn't watch it before, you should do that. Good way to put it. Like this should be at the top of your viewing list if you haven't gotten through it yet. If you don't believe us, just watch it yourself. Thank you, Lacey, for
Oh
coming
my
on here.
God.
Yeah, we've been discussing for years, like calling on each other's podcasts or a joint blog or something, and we finally did it.
Yay! Well,
Yay!
thank you for having me, and thank you to Virtual Gen Con for having
Yeah,
me, and for everybody who watched this and made sense out of anything that I just said.
yeah.